Well, thank you for that, and thank you to this last panel, who I think has set the stage so beautifully in talking about how doing good and business don't need to compete against each other. They're integrated. And yesterday's conversation around the real problem of climate change and how we need to convert to cleaner energy. You guys have really set the stage beautifully for this discussion. So I'm excited to be here representing United Airlines on World Environmental Day and talk to you a little bit about how United is disrupting the sustainability conversation within the aviation industry. So to help start the conversation, I first want to recognize that all of you probably have heard of United before I step foot on the stage, but I imagine that we have some customers in the audience as well. So by show of hands, how many of you have flown with United? Yes, look at that. Thank you all so much for your business and for really trusting us to connect you to the moments that matter most. For the few that didn't raise your hand, I'm really hoping that after today's conversation, you're going to be inspired to give us a try. So to really set the stage for the rest of this discussion and help you all realize the magnitude of our operation, I'm going to start out with a few numbers. United operates out of 7 hubs based right here in the US. We have access to 50 countries and 340 destinations through our global network. We maintain hundreds of aircraft and operate thousands of flights every day. Last year, we were privileged to serve more than 150 million passengers, some of which are in the room today. And each year, United uses 4 billion gallons of fuel. Yep, that is billions with a B. And that equates to 120 gallons per second. Think about that. This fact alone makes it easy to understand why aviation is not thought of as the most environmentally conscious industry. Though from our unique perspective, at 30,000 feet, we see the environment from a very unique perspective every day, and we know we must do our part to protect the planet and our friendly skies. So with that, we take it very seriously, and so much so, in fact, that United last year was the first US carrier to commit to reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by the year 2050. It's applause-worthy. Thank you. So achieving this goal would eliminate 21 million metric tons of CO2 in the atmosphere every year, or the equivalent of 4.5 million cars off of the road. To put that in perspective, that is all of the cars in New York City and Los Angeles combined. Another one, thank you. We are making this important investment in sustainability because we believe it is the right long-term decision for our future success. We believe it is the right investment for the environment, and we are hopeful that other airlines recognize this and do the same thing in the future. So one of the first things people ask when we talk about this really bold commitment is, how are you going to achieve that goal? Well, I'm happy to say that we are already on our way to making that happen. Currently, United invests $2 billion a year in new, more fuel-efficient aircraft. And each one of those aircraft reduce emissions 15 to 20% compared with the prior generation. To service those aircraft, we are converting our ground fleet to electric power and have already transitioned 1/3 of our eligible ground service equipment. But it's what we put in those aircraft that provide us the greatest opportunity to minimize our impact. Remember I said that 99% of our footprint is made from our fuel consumption. With that said, United is setting the standard in investments in sustainable aviation biofuel. And we are a true leader in this space. 10 years ago, in 2009, United was the first US carrier to fly a test flight using biofuel. 2 years later, in 2011, we were the first US carrier to operate a commercial passenger flight using biofuel. Today, we have moved beyond test flights and are actually deploying biofuel right here in Los Angeles in our regular, everyday operations. Here in Los Angeles, our fuel is mixed in a 70-30 ratio. 70% traditional fuel, 30% biofuel. And now the fuels are identical, both chemically and physically, and they seamlessly can drop right into the fuel farm that we have at LAX. Since 2016, United has purchased more biofuel than any airline in the world. Through our partner, World Energy, they're a refinery that converts feedstocks into low-carbon, sustainable aviation fuel, cutting CO2 emissions by 60% on a life cycle basis. So now all of these actions are going to help us realize our big goal. But at United, we like to push the boundaries and go bold. So today, on World Environmental Day, United is operating the most eco-friendly commercial flight of its kind ever. So you haven't even heard about it, but yes, it's awesome. So United's Flight for the Planet took off this morning from our hometown, Chicago, and it's making its way to our Eco Hub Los Angeles right here. Now I have some of my teammates who are in the crowd there who've been monitoring our flight. So I'm getting the thumbs up from over here, which means this historic flight has landed safely and on time right here at LAX. And I'm really excited about that because I didn't have a plan B if we were running late. That's how confident I am in our operation. So what is the Flight for the Planet? Well, we think of it very much like a concept car. It's something that's very forward-thinking, but not yet something that can be mass-produced yet. So let's talk a little bit about what this most innovative, eco-friendly Flight for the Planet in the history of aviation is all about and what makes it so unique. So we will power this Flight for the Planet using a 30-70 mix of that biofuel that I had talked about, produced by World Energy. We also have to use traditional fuel on the flight as well. We are going to be flying this Flight for the Planet on United's efficient 737-900ER, which flies passengers 77 miles on a single gallon of fuel. We're also going to be putting in some more fuel-saving operational measures, such as a single engine taxiing while we're on the ground and a continuous descent approach into Los Angeles, which not only saves fuel, but also reduces noise impact to the city. But a Flight for the Planet is so much more than that. That's why we're also going zero waste and carbon neutral. So in our economy cabin, we have replaced our traditional snack options, plastic wrap snack options, with plated service on fully recyclable or compostable serveware, including a test of an industry-first recyclable paper hot beverage cup. So these more environmentally conscious options aim to reduce our waste from 65 pounds per flight to 0. These options, these test materials, are also being offered in addition to the eco-friendly 100% bamboo cocktail picks and stir sticks that are already on board our aircraft system-wide. But even using biofuel, having these operational efficiencies, and looking at the zero-waste cabin, we're still going to have a carbon footprint. That's why we're offsetting the remaining emissions of this flight through our partner, Conservation International. We've partnered with Conservation International for 20 years, but today are excited to announce that Conservation International's carbon offsets will be available to all United customers through our United EcoSkies Carbon Choice program. And to get all of you here part of this historic flight, United has purchased an additional 1,400 offsets to represent every person here at the Social Innovation Summit, so that we can all take a virtual Flight for the Planet from Chicago right here to Los Angeles. So today is a historic day in aviation. It's a historic day for United Airlines. We are so excited to be here and part of this discussion, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in the friendly green skies of United Airlines very soon. Thank you.